Hey YouTube, this is PrimetimePokemon. In this video, I'll be reviewing and giving away the third of the 3 X and Y Kalos starter sets. I'll be giving away the Froakie deck. So this deck, like I mentioned, is part of the Kalos starter sets, and all 3 of these decks you can find in retail stores for $14.99. And this is a giveaway, so the winner of this giveaway, and I'll lay out the rules to entry later in this video, but if you do win this giveaway, you'll get the following things. You'll get this 60 Pokemon card deck, you'll get a card checklist, metallic coin, player mat, rule sheet, you'll get a Legendary Treasures booster pack, deck box, damage counters, and then a code card to unlock the 60 cards in this deck for the TCG Online. And this deck I'm reviewing is the Froakie deck. It is a water and metal type deck. And I'll summarize what the back of the box says. Here is the list of the cards in the deck, if you want to take a look there. And up here it says your adventure begins, so it just summarizes that this is one of the first decks that include Kalos region Pokemon cards. And then it says, to choose Froakie, one easy hop to victory. It says to start your adventure in the Kalos region with the water-type Pokemon Froakie and this 60 card ready-to-play deck. This new deck leaps over the competition with Froakie's unexpected powers, including all the shifting speed and thrilling moves that water-type Pokemon are famous for. Move like a roaring river and carve your channel to victory. Grab the Froakie deck and get ready to play. So now I'll show everything inside, and then I'll review each and every one of the 60 cards in this deck. And if you're debating on what deck to buy at the end of this video, I'll tell you what I think is the best of the 3 decks. I've reviewed and gave away the Chespin and Fennekin decks previously. So if you haven't watched those videos, you can check out my theme deck playlist, and you should be able to see those reviews in that playlist. So inside the box, there's the damage counters, checklist, playmat, and then there are the 3 foil cards of the starter evolution family, Froakie, Frogadier, and Greninja, as well as a coin. I'll show the coin first. Here is the coin, a Froakie coin, blue in color. Here's the deck box. A very good way to keep your cards that you're using in a deck all in one place. Here's the online TCG code card. And then here's the booster pack, like I mentioned, that you get in the deck box. Legendary Treasures. And then I'll try and get the cards out here. Sometimes it's hard to get these cards out. They're pretty tight in there, and a lot of times they have indentations on the top of the cards as well, just because they don't want the cards moving around. But these cards are included in the deck. There's a 4/4 tune line, and these cards count towards those lines. So you're going to have to use these foil versions in your deck. So here's a Froakie foil, Frogadier, and then Greninja. So there's all 3, and I'll set those aside. Now I will show all 60 cards in the deck and go through each one and talk about what I think of each one. Okay, and I had already opened this deck box before I recorded this video, just so I could organize all the 60 cards. So the first line, like I mentioned, is the main Pokemon family in this deck. It's a 4/4 tune line of Froakie, Frogadier, and Greninja. Froakie, 60 HP, 2 moves, one does 10 damage, the other does 20 damage. So it's on par with the other starter Pokemon from the Chespin deck and Fennekin deck. Very solid. Would not have a problem using this card in any water type deck. Stage 1 evolution, there's 4 Frogadier. HP is 80, so it's more similar to the Breakston card in the Fennekin family. So below average HP, but 2 moves. Water Drip is a very quick move that does 20 damage. And then Aqua Wave does 40 damage plus 20 more damage for each heads you get when you flip 2 coins. So Aqua Wave for 3 energy cards has the potential to do between 40 and 80 damage. And then on to the Stage 2 evolution, which would be Greninja. And there are 2 Greninja in this deck, 140 HP. So the entire line is quite similar to Fennekin, Breakson, and Delphox. Greninja, 140 HP, so below average HP. 1 colorless energy card retreat cost, which is quite low for a Stage 2 Pokemon. Mat Block is the first move this card has. And it does 40 damage for only 1 energy card. And it says that you have to flip a coin when using this move. If heads, discard an energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. So that's an above average move in my opinion. Very fast. And then Aqua Edge for 3 energy cards does 80 damage. So an above average move there. And overall, this Pokemon family is probably very good. It doesn't do as much damage as Delphox and Chestnut, but it is definitely quicker than both of those 2 cards. So overall, this is a very solid line of Pokemon. Now we're on to a couple basic water type Pokemon. The first is Panpour. There are 2 Panpour in the set, and this deck, like I said, has 2 70 HP, Collect, and Fury Swipe. So if you've watched my Chespin and Fennekin deck reviews, the other 2 Pan Pokemon are exactly the same. So it's a solid, average, basic Pokemon card to have in your deck. This is a new X and Y Kalos region Pokemon, Clauncher, 70 HP, so above average HP, and only has 1 move that does 20 damage for 2 energy cards, and there are 2 Clauncher in the deck. So overall, quite happy with all the water type Pokemon in this deck. This deck so far is reminding me a lot of the Fennekin deck. I rated that deck about average, 3 out of 5, and then the Chespin deck I gave a 2 out of 5 if I was rating the deck. So that's it for the water type Pokemon. Now we're on to the metal type Pokemon, and there is a 4-2 line of Bisharp and Pawniard, and I had those out of order there. I'll show Pawniard first. For Pawniard, 60 HP, and Pierce does 10 damage, Cut does 20. So it's quite similar to Froakie, so a good basic starter type Pokemon card. So 4 of those, and then 2 Bisharp. Bisharp, 90 HP. Wicked Jab does 20 damage for only 1 metal energy card. And it paralyzes the defending Pokemon if you get a heads when you flip a coin. And then Metal Claw does 70 damage for 3 energy cards. So both Metal Claw and Greninja's Aqua Edge both do above average damage for 3 energy cards. So far what I've seen from this deck are fast, powerful Pokemon. Okay, on to another Kalos region Pokemon called Hunedge. And there are 2 of these, Metal type, 60 HP, Continuous Slash. It says to flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 30 damage times the number of heads. So this is another one of those moves where it really depends on a coin flip, and if you get tails right away, there's no point of even having this card in your deck if it can't do anything. So I would probably toss this card out of the deck right away. It'd be one of the first cards to go. It could potentially be pretty good if you, let's say, got 2 or 3 heads in a row, but the probability of doing that is not very good. Only 1 in 8 chance of getting 3 heads in a row. So that's it for the metal type Pokemon. Now we're on to the colorless type. There is 1 Skitty in the deck, 60 HP, Jump On. Flip a coin if heads, this attack does 20 more damage. So I would say this is an above average colorless Pokemon. And you can always add maybe another Skitty and then a Delcatty if you're removing those Hunnage ones. And then there is one Bidoof, 70 HP. I would definitely not use this card because it only does average damage for 3 energy cards, and it has above average for basic. But if you want to put 3 energy cards on a Pokemon card, you don't want it to have only 70 HP. So it's not bad. I would say maybe below average. It's not miserable, but I'd probably take that card out of the deck. And then there are 2 Farfetch'd cards. And I really like this Farfetch'd card. 70 HP, Slash does 30 damage. So I'd even consider putting 4 Farfetch'd into this deck just because it is such a great basic Pokemon that does above average damage very quickly. So that is it for the Pokemon in this deck. Overall, I would say these are the best Pokemon in any of the 3 decks. So Chespin was the worst in my opinion, Fennekin second best, and then this Froakie deck is the best Pokemon-wise. It just slightly edges out the Fennekin deck. But overall, all of the starter evolution lines are all pretty good. All above average, I would say. So now we're on to the trainers. And this is the only deck in the Kalos starter sets to have Crushing Hammer as a trainer card. There are 2 Crushing Hammers, and it says to flip a coin if heads, discard an energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So you could really mess with your opponent if you used Crushing Hammer and you used, I believe it is, Greninja's move, Mat Block. If you get a heads when you're using Mat Block, you can discard an energy card from your opponent's Pokemon. So you lay down Crushing Hammer, get a heads, use Mat Block and get a heads, you'd really set back your opponent's Pokemon and not make it be able to attack for a couple of turns. It's a pretty good trainer to have in this deck, especially with a Pokemon that's quite similar to it. Next, there are 2 Switch trainers, and retreat cost wise, there isn't a Pokemon, there's only a couple Pokemon, I take that back, in this deck that has 2 colorless energy card retreat costs. So Switch isn't as important, but there's only 2 here, so it's not too big of a deal. I'd probably keep those in there. It's always nice not to have to discard energy cards to retreat a Pokemon from the active Pokemon spot. 4 Pokeballs, another trainer that requires you to flip a coin, but this allows you, if you get a heads, to search your deck for any Pokemon and put it into your hand. Pretty basic trainer there. One that's in a lot of theme decks. And then the only supporter in this deck is Tierno, and 2 of these, and it allows you to draw 3 cards. So early on it'd be better to use these cards, that way it'll get more cards in your hand, give you a better opportunity to get energy cards in your hand, and then attach those energy cards to your Pokemon, 1 per turn. So energy for trainers, I would say Chespin deck was the worst, so that's probably the worst deck by far out of the 3. I would say, like I said, 2 out of 5 rating, below average. I actually like the trainers in the Fennekin deck a little bit better than the trainers in this deck because that deck did have a Pokemon Catcher trainer. I really like that trainer card, but you could always add that trainer card to this deck. And then for energy cards, there are 24 total. There are 12 metal, 12 water. So overall, I've now reviewed all 3 of the X and Y Kalos starter sets, Chespin, Fennekin, and Froakie. Chespin, like I've mentioned several times in this video, is definitely the worst of the 3. It's just below average in my opinion. It's not miserable, you could still use it. I do like the line of Chespin, Quilladin, and Chestnut, but it just isn't that good overall. The Fennekin deck was a pretty average theme deck. I'd definitely go out and pick that one up if I could. And then this Froakie deck is, I would say, just above average. It's not superb, but it's definitely the best of the 3. I like that these Pokemon all have low retreat costs, quick moves, and can actually do a fair amount of damage with those moves. And this deck probably has the best Colorless type Pokemon as well. So that is it for summarizing and reviewing this Froakie deck. Again, I'm going to give this deck away, and the way that you can win this theme deck is you have to do the following things. You have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and then comment in the comment section of this video. Once you've done those two things, you have to do a couple of things when you comment. You have to first say that you'd like to enter the giveaway, and then the second thing is, I'd like to know what your favorite Stage 1 starter Pokemon is. So either Colorless, Braixen, or Frogadier. So in each of the 3 giveaways I've had for these starter sets, I've asked what your favorite of one of the evolutions in the starter line is. So good luck to everyone, and if you're unsure of what the rules are to entry, make sure and check out the video description of this video. I'll have the full rules to entry there, as well as I'll have links to my blog, Facebook, and Twitter pages. So thanks a lot everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to me review this Froakie deck. Before you go, make sure and just read through the rules to entry. Good luck to everyone. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.